Hi everyone, welcome to a new video. In this episode I'm going to show you how to paint this lovely wood elf. We're going to be working on winter themed wood elves for your old world army. Now this model is from the Oathmark Elf Light Infantry set, but the techniques and stuff you see here should work just as well on any official models or any 3D printed models you find as well. So hopefully you can follow along and enjoy. And yeah, let's get into the painting. So to start off, we're going to be doing various blues. We're going to be using Thunderhawk blue for the main kind of tunic, and then we're going to be going into Fenrisian grey and Stegodon scale green as well. These will give us a nice range of bluey greens and blues in order to kind of just lay down the cooler colours on our wood elf here. So we're going to basically just go and apply multiple thin coats to make sure they go on nice and smooth. You'll notice my Fenrisian grey is an air paint. I do have a few air paints in my collection, but they'd work just as well with a brush really. You might just have to do one extra coat, but they are nice and thin and they're fun to work with, so I do like working with the air paints. But yeah, you can see we're just applying the various blues. So this paint job is very much going to be a tabletop ready level. It's not going to be like your Olden Demon entry. This is very much to get your unit of 16 32 archers ready to play on the battlefield. So we're not going to be doing any kind of super duper mega highlighting on any of these. We're just going to make sure it looks nice enough when it's in a block of guys moving across the battlefield. That's what we're aiming for here. So I tried to pick complementary blues, ones that'll look nice together, and ones you can imagine helping an elf sort of stay hidden in the forest shadows. So not too light, but then there is a little bit of lightness in the cloak, but the main tunic's quite dark. So it looks like perhaps it could just be a shadow moving across your vision as you're walking through the forest. Not that you're going to be walking through the forest very long. And you can see I picked out a few details with that darker Stegodon scale green, such as the dagger sheath and the quiver. So there's a few little areas which just to add a little bit of visual interest to the model, despite all being blue. And then the next thing we'll do is come in with a little bit of Space Wolves grey contrast paint, which I'm going to thin down slightly and apply as a wash. Oh yeah, before I do that, I do pick out a few little bits in black, namely the belt, a few bits on the quiver and the boots. So we just want to make sure this watch applies fairly evenly across the whole model, watching out for any pooling, and I am actually going to apply it even over the areas we haven't painted yet, just so I can see a little bit more definition there. That'll help me when I come to paint the other areas in a moment. The absolute state of some of my brushes, I tell you. I haven't bought any new brushes for a while. If there's anyone out there who wants to send me any brushes, feel free to get in touch. That would be super awesome, mega of you. But yeah, I'll be picking off a couple of stray hairs out of the model as I go, where just a few of them have shed and stuck to the model a little bit here and there. So if you see the odd hair stuck to the model, try not to judge me too harshly. Thank you. Love you. Bye. I'm going for a fairly warm pink skin tone here, just to contrast against the blues, and when you're out in the cold you do tend to go a little bit red as your face flushes to keep you warm as well, so this nice warm tone will help to capture that sort of look. Yeah, I like that. So now we'll turn to some of the other warm colours. So we're going to go in with the Thundia Brown for areas like the gloves. We're going to go for Steel Legion Drab for the bow and the arrow shafts as well. And we're then going to apply a little bit of bright red just on the feathers, just to give a real splash of brightness to the model, because at the moment it's all a little bit flat, and it'll just add a little bit more visual interest to have those little bits of red on there. While I paint this bit, have you got any Wood Elves on order? Have you gone for any of the pre-orders on Games Workshop? This video should go live while the pre-orders are still in that kind of between pre-order and actually coming out period. What do you call that? The pre-order window. Yeah, that's the one. Did you order anything? I did get a few vouchers kindly passed to me, so I was able to get the Arcane Journal, the Beastmaster set, and the Warhawk set. So I'm really looking forward to those arriving, and then hopefully I'll get a battalion as well. So that'll be awesome. Okie dokie, and now we're on to a little bit of metal. Now Wood Elves generally don't have a lot of metal, and they don't really work with kind of like your hard metals, which tend to be your silver metals. You're more likely to see them with stuff like copper or bronze. So I am using a sort of coppery bronzy, what was this colour called again? True copper, that's the one. So we're using that, and we're just going to pick out like the arrowheads and little bits on the little dagger, just the odd little piece. Nothing too much. Oh, and the belt buckle, that's good to know. And now we're going to bring all those warmer colours together with a shade of Agrax Earthshade. This will just help to bring them all a little bit down, help tie them in together, and just make sure they don't stand out too much against the rest of the model. It'll just give them that little bit of earthiness. Is that the right term, earthiness? Can you tell I just kind of make up the audio on the spot and just go with the first take most of the time? And I'm just throwing a little bit of Agrax onto the other colours, just here and there in the recesses, just to help kind of vary the tones a little bit and add a bit of shadow in. Oh yeah, and I do a bit of Agrax on the base as well, because I'm totally addicted to base. Whoa, whoa, oh. Now, because this is a tabletop level, I am just going to do like an overall dry brush for the whole model, and we're going to use Wraithbone for this. So I'm just going to like wipe off the excess on this little MDF logo card, which was done for me by the Enginarium. Hopefully I'll put a link to them in the description if I remember. Otherwise, put it in the comments and I'll try and edit it in when I get the notification saying that I forgot to do that. Hopefully I don't forget to do that. Anyway, yeah, so I'll try to tickle the whole model, just kind of raise all of those edges up with the highlighting, what am I trying to say, with the Wraithbone. It does go a little bit heavy at times where I didn't quite take enough off, or I just went a bit heavy on the dry brush. It's hard to tell which one I do here, but it's easy enough to clean up. I just go back to the actual base colour that I went over, thin it down a little bit so it almost makes like a wash consistency, and then go back over that area just to kind of bring back the original colour a little bit. And you'll see I'll do this on the gloves, I do it on the actual bow and on the arrows as well, just to kind of bring that red back, because they do go a little bit too bony. So a little bit of course correction after the dry brush goes wrong, in inverted commas. It still kind of works, and for the most part I'm happy with it. It's just those one or two, particularly on that one glove, where it really kind of stood out that the dry brush took to it a little bit too well. At this point I think it's looking really nice. I think it's going to be the kind of colour scheme where if you do have those in a block of 16 archers or 32 archers, these are going to look perfectly good. We are just going to add a little bit more detail now, so we're just going to go in with a bit of a Carabig Crimson wash, just to kind of like make the skin look like it's a little bit more flushed with cold. So this step's probably better done with an airbrush if you've got one, but I don't have one. I like to use this ultra matte Lucky Varnish from Ammo, and I just sort of paint it over the whole model just to kind of unify the finish. So some paints have different properties. Some are shiny, some are matte, some have quite a strong gloss to them, and I find this just helps to bring all that together, particularly if any of the shades in the shadows have a little bit of a sheen. And as we go into the final steps, I use some of this Diorama Effects snow stuff. It's basically a textured paint, and I apply some snow to the base, just using a normal Citadel texture tool thingy. You could use a brush as long as you wash it off properly afterwards. After that, I just use a little bit of a grass tuft on there as well, and finish up with a few splats of blood for the blood god on the snow and on the tuft as well. And then with that done, we can go to the reveal photos at the end. Hope you enjoyed this little tutorial, and if it was useful for you, please let me know. Please do give me a subscribe and join Paint Slam at paintslam.com. Bye!